I am so excited. Do you see who's beside me? It's Laura from allWomen, and we are all women today. What a coincidence, hey? Laura is a co-founder of allWomen, and I would love to know if you could have, Laura, started this 20 years ago. Would the industry have changed, or did you start it at the perfect time when the industry was asking for more women in tech?
I think I joined the industry when the industry started to be aware the lack of women that was in the industry, and that we and the industry had a problem. So yes, I think it was the beginning of all this movement and awareness and need and necessity. That wasn't 20 years ago, though. That was more like 10 years ago. I think 20 years ago, the industry was just like building the industry, being very male-oriented and not caring that much. But I think in the last 10 years, we see like an important change, or at least a will to change, and we see improvements over, as we were mentioning before, little by little. That being said, there is a long way to go still, and as you said, the ones who care, they make an effort, the ones not. But we are in constant motion, trying to change that industry, joining forces with different stakeholders, which I think is like super key in order to have this transformation. Because in the end, we are trying to tackle like a systemic problem, right? So we need to tackle this from all fronts, from all different spheres and everything. I open a very heavy topic conversation, I think, now.
So ganging up with the big IT world, with the big guys, let's say, and they are guys. So I use that word the right way. You have obviously decided to work with them, not fighting against them. And what kind of a habit have you had to take in your own being? Maybe you are a luchadora, maybe you are a fighter, but what kind of a habit have you had to do to work with them to include more women, to include more funding for women founders? What's something you've had to shift?
Well, I shift many things, I think. I like the point of like working together. As I said, this is like a systemic problem that we need to tackle from all fronts, including everyone. And I think this is the way we can really transform the industry, as I was mentioning. But one thing that it really changed the way I approach building, my company and feeling confident about it is the way I communicate. So instead of using qualifying language, I like to use direct and assertive language. It took me a while to realize about this, right? But it makes like a huge difference, and it helps you a lot to move forward within the industry, within your team, within being a boss, or talking to your boss or a client or a provider, right?
Can you give me an example of something, how you used to say it, and now when you talk like the boss lady?
Yeah, so a very clear example is, maybe we could try this approach, right? This is very like qualifying language. Instead, you would say, I propose we implement a strategy. The way you say it, only like it makes an instant effect on you. Like you truly believe this is going to happen, right? But the others that are listening to you, they also believe this is going to happen. And it's very important when you are leading like a team, because you create this sense of like drive. So the team follows you because they see this drive on you. And this is very important when you also talk to your boss, right? Or I really appreciate when my employees, I get people at my team, they talk to me with assertivity, because then I trust them, to drive next strategy, the next movement in the next phase. And also when you talk to your clients, of course, and even when you talk to providers, so they really see that you know what you want, and that they shouldn't be messing up with you, right? Because you are the client and you know what you want. So for me, realizing about this, it made a whole difference in the way I behave professionally in different when I'm in different roles, let's say.
So I'm hearing when you are more assertive, people trust you more.
100%.
And I teach courses on how to be assertive for women. And
Perfect. No.
yeah, and we don't talk like that normally because usually we're afraid that somebody will call us something that rhymes with a witch. Yes?
100%.
Have you had any feedback that when you switched into a more assertive, confident, trusting sounding boss lady, people went, "Ooh, don't like this new style of yours. Sounds like you're too masculine?" Or did it go over the way we dream it goes over?
It went well for me. I must say, though, I've worked for a long before, like founding allWomen. I work in a couple of companies that were driven and led by other women. So I've been also been working like a lot in female environments. So we didn't have this kind of bias. And I think I learned a lot from these like female leaders that were before, like my bosses. So I've been like lucky. In this way, but having this conversation maybe with other colleagues or with friends, like I think often or sometimes men feel a bit about uncomfortable when we speak to them this way, right? Or you acknowledge the importance of speaking this way, because it's not expected on us to have this, to behave like this or to communicate this like this, but it's expected from them, but not from us, right? And then it's a bit like, upset, let's say. But I think it's important again to have these conversations with our like male peers, and they get used to this new female leadership that I think is important that we acknowledge and work together.
Would you say that the way that you communicate is one of the biggest? I'm a communication trainer, so I would say it's super important, but I'm not a founder. I don't know about the world and the tech energy exactly. And so for me, the way you communicate yourself is the way that people are going to see you. So do you see some very successful women in this field that use qualifying language and don't use assertive language? Or is it like clave? Is it the key to communicating that your team can trust you and you are a leader?
I mean, I guess there is always like a balance, right? Like you want to communicate this sense of like certainty and drive. Also, you don't want to be like someone that is like imposing what we have to do all the time, right? So you need to find that balance to be a leader that cares about others and empower others to have also this kind of communication, as we were saying, right? I love when my team tell me, I know what we have to do. We need to go that direction. And it's like I say, yes, this is working. My leadership is working because they know they have the room and the space to provide a guide and to provide a lead. And this is when then like a company and a team makes sense. When you have like everyone empowered to lead different strategies, to try experiments, and they have, the confidence to put this out loud. Otherwise, you are going to have, I think, an organization that is going to be a bit poor because it's going to be only your thinking. And in the end, even though you can be like the smartest, brightest, innovative person, you see the world from one perspective, right? So you want to have all your like teammates engaged in that exploration and that innovation, in that drive to add everyone to the machine, not to say it. So I think there is like this balance that you need to find that it's complicated, right? Like one, you are like you show this capacity and this certainty and this drive, but then you are also empathetic and help everyone to thrive and to express their thoughts, their opinions, and their ideas.
I like it. I was at the EU startup where you were a speaker in Malta just a few months ago, and I was running women speed, not networking, speed connecting. And I use that very specifically. And I wonder if that's a failure on my part because I'm treating women differently in your industry than I'm treating males. And I wonder if that's required because women socialize differently? There is just an energy different, or is that a thing of the past and it's all pretty equal by now and the industry has adapted and we all get along perfectly?
We are all the same. Yeah, that's a good point. I think it makes sense, and it's important that to acknowledge that yes, we communicate different, and that we are like socialize different, and we do things in a different way. And I think it's important to use this in the benefit of empowering other women. Meaning, right? So we created allWomen, that is like a tech academy only for women. And you would say, why do we need this? Like, let's treat the same like men and women, and just women will go to tech academies and tech schools, and everything will be fine, right? But the answer is like, it is not, right? So when we looked at universities, like women like studying like STEM degrees, or to tech academies, how the percentage of women and men in those schools. So we see like a huge imbalance, right? And there's like so many layers of systemic, as we were saying, like problematics and issues that make like women, they don't pursue those careers, right? So you need to make something extra, something like an additional effort to bring and encourage women to those sectors, right? So for us, it was like pretty obvious that this additional effort, it was necessary, and the proof is that we've been like training more than 1,000 women in these past years, right? And the way we did it once was like communicating, and a very relevant ingredient for us was like the instructors are also female, so they feel represented, right? Because then you see, okay, there is these other women that did that, then I can do it. Not only this, then those women become like my professional network, right? So we create sort of like a network of professional women working in technology. So I think like for now, when we are very aware that there is like a huge imbalance yet in the industry, we need to make this like additional and extra effort. And sometimes it feels a bit artificial even, right? But it has like an objective. It has like a purpose, which is like to unbalance. And I think it's totally worth and necessary. And so, yes, coming to your previous question, yes, I think sometimes communicating in a different way is important and necessary.
So I was speaking with an Indian woman, and she was saying, oh, in STEM, we're like 50-50 in India. Do you know that? And what is India doing that women feel highly encouraged to go into STEM, whereas in Europe and North America, it's like still a boys' world? Well, let's say 5-10 years. Well,
yeah, that's interesting. This is also like a phenomenon that happened in some countries from Eastern Europe. My guess here, there is like at least in Eastern Europe, and that was explained to me by someone from those countries. Like, this is not my theory, right? Because their heritage of like communists, where like everyone should like contribute, and science and technology was like very important, and all people in society should be like skilled and work for like careers related to a STEAM background. They were associated to all of that, right? To science, technology, a way to be like a skilled worker and contribute to the system. So this happens in those countries. Then for India, I'm sure there is like an additional factor that I'm not aware of, but India itself as a country is a huge digital hub nowadays, right? So I'm assuming, and I don't know, right? Like, because they are such a big country with like millions of population, basically, I'm assuming the state is doing like a good job of encouraging people to go to this industry, which is the one that is growing and growing and growing, and one that is like work for everyone, right? And so men and women like are just going there, where maybe in Western countries as ours, like, because we're more, we have more resources and more privileges, maybe, I don't know, like choose whatever we want, and we just like stay with the stereotypes that were like we were taught. So men go here, women go here.
Yeah.
I'm just making theories live. Let's see.
Isn't that so cool? I've been to India a couple times, and I'm going in a couple months. I'm just booking my ticket, and how this isn't about India necessarily, the talk, but how much it's shifted that now India is inspiring us for equality for women in the STEM field.
In the same field.
Isn't
We
that
should explore this more. Yeah, yeah, you need to tell me. Go there, explore it, and then share it with me, please. Yeah, great, serious.
I just think like what is possible when my conference is about shifting, right? And there's a famous book called Shift. It's like something happens and then, 30 years ago, there weren't women in STEM in India. Well, 30 years ago, there wasn't the immigration, there wasn't the international studies. Something happened. What group of women, what government initiative, what economic situation shifted that industry? What can shift with all women, right? If it gains the power, could we see in Europe? Well, do you think we could see a 50-50 STEM gender
100%.
share?
I mean, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Because we are fighting, like we are putting everything we can in order for this to happen. Also, and I think it's important, and I think companies know, but they need to believe more on that and put resources on that, right? So the way like tech companies are growing, it means that there is like a demand for skilled people that it grows and grows and grows and grows. So if we don't like put like women to also have those skills and work in these like tech positions, it's not going to be possible for those industries and those companies that are like that they want to like grow massively, arrive to these like growth rates, because they are not going to have like enough skilled people in order to do it. So I always say that, right? So this is like social justice, but it's also economical growth, and it's innovation, and it's like it's an industry need. Like all of this is happening right now, and companies should be. I think they are aware, but they should be definitely putting like much more efforts and much more resources in order to close this gap, because they are going to need it massively very soon.
Do you work with companies to bring all women communication skills training into their companies, or do you do it privately where the women come to you online?
We do both. We work with women that come independently to our courses. So we have in the different tech and digital most demanded skills right now in the industry, and then we also work with companies. So, for instance, we're working now with Travel Bird for the second time, where we look for a group of women that match their like cultural fit and their not that much technical, but like the needs that the company have. We train them to become like software engineers, and then we embed them in their engineering team, right? Because they realized that they needed people with like engineering skills, and they didn't have like enough women. So they said, okay, let's put together these two needs that we have, right? So we need the skilled people. We want to have a more diverse team. All women help us to do this, right? So we are like, we work this way with this company, and we are looking forward to work with more companies these ways, because the impact is huge, like socially speaking, company speaking.
But these women don't have degrees in engineering?
Not necessarily. Like we have worked with different profiles. It's more like the drive they have. This is what we look and what the company looks like. This person has the drive. This person has like a user-centric mentality. This person like loves tech. Let's teach them, you know.
But isn't this a huge shift? Because in my brain, it's like, if you want to do that, you have to go to school, sit with like 90% men through 4 years of university, and you're telling me that they can get jobs in this field trained by you guys without the university degree.
Totally, 100%. This is happening.
Whoa.
Exactly.
That's a game changer for people who couldn't afford, who didn't have the opportunity, women who had children, who love tech, who can go know that. This brings this is so exciting.
It's so exciting, and that's why we exist, right? To make awareness about this. Now it's possible. Like you don't need to go like 5 years of engineering. I mean, we still need engineers that goes like 5 years university, of course, but the demand is so huge that we need people from everywhere coming to work to the tech industry. And it's also very interesting and very important that these people come from different backgrounds and different profiles, and not only like engineer people, right? Like you want people that come from services, you want people that come from health, people comes from languages, and we have different examples of ladies that came from non technical backgrounds, learning like new tech skills, and how they become a super interesting profile, right? That maybe has experience in a very different field, but it's very complementary to the new tech company they are joining, right? So the opportunity is huge, and we need to work like all together to make that happen. And I don't want to put this on the women as it always happens, right? Because there's always like all the changes that you as women you can do. Yeah, okay, I can do some part, right? But like all the changes that everything around me could do also to make my being part of society easy, right? Because there is so many things that we never choose, even that we just like we're born here, and then they tell you you are this, that, and that, and you will do this, that, and that. But then you need to change everything, you know. But the ecosystem is not gonna change. You need to do this like pretend effort all the time. So it's a bit intense.
So has all, well, we're getting to the very end, but has all women like exploded? Women must be loving this. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this with a lot of passion and drive, but everyone in the company and in the community, this is like when we say that this is a business-driven community and company. And so, like, not only our team, but also, of course, our students, they connect to with this mission, and that's why they sign up with us and not with like anybody, any other academy. But also the professors, as I was saying, right? All the instructors are female that work in the industry. So it creates a very community-driven effect in all the layers, right? Like within classes, outside classes, in the events. We're very global and international, so we have more than 40 nationalities. And so it makes it like a super, diverse space and movement. And this is so beautiful. So we put so much effort and so much energy to build a company from scratch. Bootstrapping is hard, really. I mean, this is a reality.
Yeah.
But because like the mission, it was very clear and it was very strong. Then you have this passion to go forward and forward and forward. And because the people that is connected to the community, they tell you, right? And you see that, and then that helps you to go and to continue.
Thank you for your passion and what you have done and what you're shifting for hopefully millions of women as it grows.
All right.
I was just thinking at the Mobile World Congress, we did speed connecting and we got 100 women together in the Barcelona Beat area. It would be really cool if we did it with all women. Well, all women, because that's another big sausage party that we have both attended to. And if we could get a space in the place, right, where it's understood that this is needed and necessary. So I look forward to doing something that I can help you guys.
Yeah, let's do it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Laura, gracias, merci. Thank you. That was inspiring. I have goosebumps hearing what changed in such few years when you get a group of very passionate women who know what they're doing, who have a vision. I'm really glad that you took the time to come talk to us. Thank you.
No, of course. Thanks for having me. I always enjoy coming.
Okay. Bye, Laura.
Bye. Thank you.